The future is here. Seems like every day there's new technological advances that really are tough to keep up with. Recently, we talked about whether or not we think dating AI chatbots is possible, is going to become more popular, and if we're able to make connections with robots. But before we ask that, how much can we trust robots? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English on Autopilot. And today I saw a video while I was on Instagram of a self driving car. A self driving car, I believe, by the company Waymo, which was in San Francisco, and they are becoming a quite a big company. And there's other companies that are also entering into this endeavor and are seen across the world in major cities. And well, the technology is certainly advancing. At first, when self driving cars started to become a thing, well, what did you see most? I saw a lot of videos of crashes, of failed tests, of things like that, which honestly I believe you can expect whenever there's new technology. At the very beginning, there's a lot of mistakes, there's a lot of errors, and there's a lot of things that the developers need to iron out. They need to figure out the problems and correct them. And then it got me thinking a little more about driverless cars. First off, what is a driverless car? A driverless car is a car that obviously doesn't need a human to drive it. It works using cameras, sensors, and artificial intelligence that maps out the road and tells the car when to accelerate, when to brake, turning left and right, when to reverse, all of those things, right? Everything basically from getting in the car to turning the car off is automatic. We don't need to do anything. I imagine the only thing the human would need to do would be to start the car. But who knows, as technology advances, I'm sure the car's sensors will know when you enter, will probably put on your seatbelt for you and everything. Now, there's a lot of good things that come from driving self driving cars, or also known as autonomous vehicles. Think about it. Right now, with humans driving cars, a huge problem are car accidents. Car accidents kill a ton of people every year. A lot of famous people, well, they die from being in a car accident. I think of Albert Camus, a very famous author who died in a car accident, or very recently, the famous marathon runner who was looking to break the world record, who tragically died at a very young age in a car accident. There's a lot of people that their lives would be saved if we all had self driving cars. Because humans cause accidents for many different reasons. For example, they could be texting and driving, being distracted while driving with their cell phone, or even just changing the radio, speeding, drinking and driving, or being under the influence of some sort of substance, whether it be alcohol or drugs. Those things are sadly common as well, and of course, are a huge factor of causing accidents. Then there's another thing that's also quite common while driving called road rage. Road rage happens when you're driving and another car does something that you don't like, whether they're right or wrong, it doesn't matter. Road rage is what happens when you react to the other car and how they're driving, and it makes you angry. Now, road rage is pretty normal, right? It's pretty normal. And most of the time, it stays to the point where it stays within maybe yelling in your car, or not even yelling, just being a little upset, but has escalated to the point of causing accidents and even death. Now, a robot wouldn't interact with that. It would not engage with any of those things. The road rage would not be a factor for a robot. Neither would distracted driving, and of course, driving under the influence. Another thing that I thought of that would be a big benefit of the autonomous vehicles becoming more popular is the freedom that it would give to one, disabled people that are not able to drive, that rely on other humans for their transport. It would give them the freedom to go where they need to go without needing another human involved. Also, the elderly. People, as they age, eventually they reach an age where it becomes very difficult or even dangerous for them to drive. And it's very difficult for them, which is understandable because they lose a ton of their freedom. All of a sudden, they go from being full functioning adults to needing to rely on others to go to the grocery store. With self-driving cars, it would return that freedom back to the elderly and also disabled people. Another thing that I think could be a benefit is I believe possibly it could reduce traffic because traffic is normally caused by other humans, right? Mistakes on the road, people being distracted, things like that. Now, self-driving cars, if they function perfectly using their camera, using the sensors around them, could maybe drive closer together and reduce the amount of traffic on freeways and even within a city, right? A self-driving car, if they're all self-driving cars, I'm thinking of entire networks of self-driving cars, it makes sense to me that the amount of traffic could go down. Now, these are all great things. These are all huge benefits. Also, not even including the comfort of just getting in your car, reclining in the seat, watching a TV show, reading a book, doing whatever, working, whatever you might need to do while you're being transported to where you need to go, just like on a train or something else like that, right? Which, again, would also give us more time doing other things that we enjoy instead of being focused on the road while driving. However, how much do we trust the robots, right? Because just because it's a robot doesn't mean it can't make an error. It also happens, right? In factories with any sort of technology, even our cell phones, our computers, there's errors all the time. That to me is worrisome because all of a sudden, if a robot causes an accident, the consequences are the same. Humans can lose their lives, be injured, it could be very, very serious. Also, I have to think in today's world, relying a lot on technology can be very dangerous. Something we just experienced in Spain was the power outage that affected the entire Iberian Peninsula and even the south of France as well. And a lot of theories pointed to a cyber attack. Well, why wouldn't this happen with self driving cars? What if two countries that are at war with each other, or not even at war, that have a lot of tensions between them, what if one decides to have to enact a cyber attack by taking over the self-driving cars, causing accidents, causing damage, causing a lot of problems? Sure, I'm sure there's going to be many computer scientists that are going to be working on making the self-driving cars unhackable, things like that, of course. However, it's always a possibility. And to me, it's very worrisome. Now, right now, today, would I get in a self driving car? As I mentioned at the start of the video, there's already places where you can order self driving cars as if it's an Uber, right? But instead of a human picking you up, it's the self driving car. Would I get in that car? Honestly, I think today I wouldn't. I don't think I would get in the car. I think the technology is still in development, it's not completed, and there's a lot of problems that they're still ironing out. To me, I've seen way too many videos of the technology failing for me to feel confident in getting in the car without a driver. It's just the way it is right now. However, I'm open to the possibility that in 10, 20 years, it being completely normal and expected, where a human driver would be a weird thing to see on the road. But that brings up another negative. What happens if that becomes the norm? What happens if all of a sudden we don't drive anymore? Well, A lot of people are going to lose their jobs. Taxi drivers and Uber drivers, people like that obviously are going to be out of work because they're not needed. If we have cars that drive themselves, why are we going to pay someone to drive us? It just doesn't make sense. And on top of that, there's another thing that another job that would be in jeopardy as well. Truck drivers. Truck drivers that are transferring produce and food products, right, across the country, across different parts of the world, as well as any sort of good, as any sort of product in general. Those truck drivers could possibly and would probably lose their job if all of a sudden we just relied on self-driving cars. So, economically, it's going to be difficult for those people to figure out what to do. They have a ton of experience in their work, but now their work is absolutely obsolete. It's not necessary anymore, and the market is going to be overrun by self driving cars. Would you get in a self driving car? Put it in the comments below. Would you get in an autonomous vehicle and feel safe? Like I said, for me, no, but I want to know what you guys think. Okay, everyone. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, please go ahead, put a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to keep watching these videos as they come out. And I hope you all have a great day. Bye.